Good morning. Thank you for joining this chat. I'm going to talk today. I'm Susan Hall. I'm co-founder and president of 95% Group. We're happy to have you join us. We're going to chat a little bit today about a topic that I'm pretty passionate about, which is phoneme substitution. And the reason I'm excited about this is because for quite some time it has seemed that we have these children, these students who aren't quite responding to our interventions, and we've been trying things with them and they're a little bit older and we're thinking, why are these kids not making progress? And I feel like we've just gotten some answers to that, and so I'm really excited to share this with you today. Some of you may have had a chance to hear me talk about it before, others may not have heard as much about this, so I just want to share a kind of big picture for a moment. So the breakthrough in our understanding about these students who may be older that are still struggling even with good intervention has come because we're learning about the importance of very critical phonological awareness skills in a little bit later grades. In the past, I'd say 5 to 10 years, when I think about phonological awareness, we all think about our kindergarten and first grade colleagues. And it has always seemed for some time now that, phonological awareness belonged to those teachers, that they're the ones who are teaching that skill, they're the ones who are getting our students to hear the sounds in words and be able to tear them apart in words and manipulate sounds in words. And it was sort of like, that world belongs to our kindergarten colleagues and maybe early first grade. And I think the breakthrough has come in understanding that phonological awareness, first of all, continues to develop well into fourth grade. So it's something that students aren't mastering way back in kindergarten and then never having to think about it again, but rather it's subtly underneath going on for quite some time longer than maybe we were paying attention to. So with that, and that's kind of some new research. It's not all new research, but the research was compiled in a little bit different way in David Kilpatrick's book. And you can see some other information that we've written and is on our website about that. But really what happened was, and this is our phonological awareness continuum that we like to use here at 95% Group, and I'll cover up the readiness skills for just a moment. And let's go on and look at these other skills, which are syllable and onset rhyme and the phoneme level. So if we cover these up and we look way up here at the phoneme level skills, the skills we're talking about are the ones that are the very most sophisticated, the ones at the top end of the continuum. So it's not the ability to say, for example, to a student, what's the first sound in this word ball? The first sound is, of course, B. It's not that skill. That skill really does belong to kindergarten. It's this skill. Say the word bus. Say it again and change the S to G. What's the new word? Bug. So that is phoneme substitution, where you're piecing out one sound in a word and putting a different sound in its place and making a new word. Now the example I just gave you is still something we'd like our kindergartners, early first graders to master, because that's just with a very easy word. It becomes a little more difficult if you piece out a sound in the middle of the word, like a vowel, or you take and tear a sound out of a, for example, a consonant blend. And that is what continues to develop and be very important. And it's really important later on, because if you say to a student later on, let's say second grade, and they're looking at the word S-A-K-E in print. S-A-K-E, they come to it, they look at it, and they think, I don't know this word. What you want them to do is to be able to look at S-A-K-E and be able to say, oh, that looks like L-A-K-E, and I do know L-A-K-E. L-A-K-E is lake. But in order to do the pronunciation exchange from lake to sake, they have to piece out the O and put in its place S, and then say the word sake. And they can't do that if they're not pretty sophisticated phonologically. So that is what we want them to be able to do. So because this skill is so important and it's way up here at the upper end of the phonemic awareness continuum, we developed a complementary screener for you to use with your students in second grade and beyond. And we actually were giving these cards out to remind people about it, but it's available on our website. And if you go there and download it, it's a complimentary screener. There's two forms, X and Y. And X would be something you'd give to, say, your second graders, maybe early third graders, and then the more complicated one, Y, you'd give to your older students, maybe like in, third and fourth grade. And what you do is, this is really quick. It's if you have a student that you've been working with for a while and you're thinking, why is this not clicking? And you've got a third or fourth grader, you're thinking, I have done so much with this student, what can I do? We need to determine whether they ever mastered that high-level phonological awareness skill. And if they didn't, and they can't do phoneme substitution, then we need to address it, because you know what? That may be the key. It may be that hidden piece that is keeping that older struggling reader from benefiting from all the great intervention instruction that we're providing that student. So I'm excited to get this chance to talk to you today, because this is something I'm really passionate about. I would like you to, if you have these struggling readers at the older grades, download these. They're free, and use them. They're really brief. There's instructions, and you just sit with a student, and for example, the easier one, Form X, you would just say to a student, say the word, I would say to the student, say tall. Change t to m. What's the new word? Mall. But it gets more complicated when we get to those middle vowels, so you might say glass. Change a to ah. What's the new word? Gloss. That's tougher. That's what we need our older students to do. And then it gets even harder when, in our more complex version of this phoneme substitution screener, Form Y, you would say dream. Now change the E to what's the new word? Drum. That's tougher. But they need to be able to do that lake to sake reversal or substitution in words they don't know. So, to wrap up what we were talking about today, thank you for joining us. Just love the chance to say how important phoneme substitution is, not just at kindergarten, but second, third, fourth grader, for students who didn't make those normal gains in understanding it and who may still be struggling. You can download these two phoneme substitution screeners. They're complimentary. Give them to your older students who you're really concerned about and puzzled why they're not benefiting, and this may help you figure out just that key. And if you determine that this is weak for them, teach them that skill, and hopefully it will help. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you on our next Facebook Live. Have a great day. Bye.